Alright, we are back for this live casting coverage. I'm Vexel. SLM versus DNA, this is map 2. Map 1 was Ascent, DNADIFF winning after a strong 10-2 half. SLM does make it close. And this time we have DNADIFF on the attack side to start. Looking kind of like a 1-3-1. Adder is just going to get some information towards C as the rest of the team works mid. We have the Cypher lurking A, kind of like beta. And Adder's just going to walk up towards Cubby here, and Pure might not be ready for this now. Trailblazer is going to come through for a fast C-split. Garage smoke comes through. Trailblazer is going to find Pure. They know exactly where he is in the smoke. Nice stun by Aiko to create something. Pure actually walks through the smoke to kite Adder here, and Jonah floods through the site. It was his stun. My apologies. That creates all of that stalling chaos, and while Adder finally picks up Pure, the rotators are all here to stop it. It's just going to be Ram on the lurk. Nilias picks him up. Nice pistol for SLM. It was a really interesting start. We saw Adder kind of lurking towards Cubby early. That Trailblazer was really important. They even had the location of Pure, but it was all of that stun from Jonah that stalled the attackers long enough for the rest of these rotators to flood, and Pure creating a lot of livability by pushing through that smoke himself. So good individual reactions there, and good rotation by the team. Another eco we saw last Ascent when they lost pistol. Their attack side eco involved really death pack kind of mentality, pushing through smokes together, shorties, that kind of thing. But we do have a pause. And it looks like they're just getting that sorted out right now. We're unpaused and live again into another 1-4. This time the Cypher looking towards C. They're not going to be ready for this Killjoy, but it's going to be a fast B plant attempt here. Neon does have the shorty. And we do have Alarm Bot on side, but actually, instead of a B plant, he's going to dash right into A Link, and Jonah's going to give him that Spectre. Now Lear's going to get that trade and try to make it onto the site. Nili's already backside, but he might not be ready for Adder, who walks through. Nice jumping shot by the Classic. But Nili gets the pick. The rest of the team has already made it through Garage, trying to make it into a C-split. We saw that Ram had already lurked through the C site, but Pure is going to pick him up, and Nili's turret ends up scoring a kill onto Nick. The rest of them are going to flood C, and they might not be ready for Aiko, but I mean, he is kind of stuck in Garage window. That Fade Tether not going to catch him. They just need to clean him up here, and nice shot by Aiko, but Pure nice wide swing to clean him up. That was a relatively tricky round. They should have gotten more than one. The dash towards A-Link was cute. It's kind of different. Obviously, normally just kind of dash to get the bomb onto the site, maybe dash to some sort of fake. Jonah wasn't ready, got on the smoke a bit late. The shorty ended up picking him, but there were that Spectre trade, and Nili getting backside there and winning that crucial kill against Adder was crucial. So relatively clean bonus coming up here for Spectres and a Ghost. On the side of SLM, we see a bit more of an A stack into a 1-1-3. I like that they put the Killjoy on C that round too, to kind of showing that they're willing to mix it up, that they're not predictable. Tether nade towards A lobby, and that's going to show two agents that are going to be called by Ram here. But you can see they've already rotated to give that false information, as though there's like a lot towards A here. And it's just going to be the Killjoy left to his own devices in Nili towards A short. Does have a good setup for himself to make sure he can't get walked on long, so that's going to allow the rest of DNADIFF, or the rest of SLM, excuse me, to stack the rest of the site, the rest of the map towards C and B. Now, Flash comes through and we see a very patient A lobby take by these Vandals. They know that there could be a player A short. This kill is going to be crucial for Nili here. A little jump spot. They know it's triggering a trap, but while Neon was ready for it, Ram certainly was not, and it's going to score a kill for Nili. It was a nice trap setup there with the stun from Jonah off of the turret contact. Now Neon, afraid of a second trap trigger, is going to tailwind away. And Nili actually got offsite after the pick, which is actually totally fine. They could make this 5v4 retake work. Adder might actually be ready for this, and oh, what? Strangely enough, that bird didn't actually proc on to the Cubby player, and it was just fake C pressure. They're going to make their way into the B site late, but Aftershock still available for Jonah. It's going to create a lot of stall. It's going to allow the rotators to come through. Prowler's also going to deny the close to B push through. It's going to be Zeldris. Next contact. Nice stun from Jonah. Good call by Zeldris as well towards Garage, and it's going to try to recommit through B, and Zeldris trying to make something happen. It's actually Jonah with the Ghost. Nice! Oh my god. That gravity well. Very well played by Pure Vinesse there. Very clutch to kind of pull that bomb into the open where Jonah can shut it down. Really, really good communication from the side of SLM. You can see all of the stuns are on point. That close garage fight's gonna, you know, even keeping that aftershock, really kind of disciplined, not using all of his util right away. Jonah playing it really well on the breach here. So it looks like we might be angled for their potential C split here. We see Ram is going to be taking that C long angle with the cam. Doesn't see anyone on the deep side. The rest of them are going to be running, flooding through garage. The smoke is actually going to stop this garage push. Or not stop it, but enhance it. It's going to make it look like it was supposed to be C long, but they're actually going to push through to C link. It's going to be Neon looking for something. Cloudburst dashes through. Nilly's going to find him. No trade in sight. Pure Vinesse placing a couple more stars down. Nebula is going to come through. It's going to be a garage split. Nilly gets traded, but it's actually a kind of a bait setup. You're not expecting Pure towards logs. He's going to get one more, but Ram actually trades him, making it a relatively tricky 3v2 until Zeldris gets to pick onto Ram. Aiko has to turn tail and run. He might get a free plant towards A or the B site. Yeah, because the killjoy's down, so Alarmbot's not going to be on. Nice stun by Jonah, kind of just reading this and inducing Aiko to stun himself. Kind of revealing his position, but getting a spike plant down, it's still going to be worth it here. And, you know, if Aiko maybe gets one more close here, it might be good. Nice Prowler still saved, though, by Leary. He's going to have to reload, but they are running him down. The shots have to be true, but it's just going to be Zeldris with the run and gun. Going to pick up Aiko towards Graffiti, and, yep, they shut it down. That could have gotten tricky. It was kind of a creative look. It was a weird look. They were rushing through garage. They were making a lot of noise, but they end up smoking garage tunnel to stop this plat player from potentially just wiping them and looking for a fight towards C first before this garage smoke fades into just a C hit through garage. And yeah, Nilly was close, and after he got traded, they weren't expecting Pure Vinesse in that locks position, who ends up just getting traded, but you know, the damage was done at that point, and the 3v1 was not very winnable for Aiko. Still, a good plan for these ecos for the side of DNADIFF. And now we have, it looks like more of a spread, but a lot towards C long. They want to secure probably an orb here, I assume on the Jet, while Ram creates some pressure towards A. Obviously the Nebula is going to deny A lobby completely for DNADIFF and that Roomba. They're just showing a lot of presence on the defense here on the A setup of the map, and that might kind of induce DNADIFF to go somewhere else. The Trailblazer is going to clear mid. He's going to potentially notice this Alarmbot molly setup on the bomb, while Pure Vinesse is going to hear them making noise towards grass. Now we still have a lot of pressure towards A lobby. I still want to fully deny this, and honestly these A lobby players, if they end up going B, the attack that is, they might be a little out of position. They might have to triple flank here. It's unclear, and actually DNADIFF aren't quite sure where to go either. Now Adder spamming, just going to create a little bit of pressure. He's not going to push through with the flash. The molly is actually really well timed from Nilly. That's going to stop Pure Vinesse from dying, and Pure Vinesse is going to be eating those flashes here, just because Nilly is actually the one who's playing off of Vinesse's contact. And the rest have now grouped up towards B. It was because that Trailblazer actually saw the molly, they were able to destroy the molly and the alarm bot to get this free B plant. And this A push that we talked about earlier, Zeldris has actually made his way through. It's going to have to be Ram who watches out for it. Zeldris has a really good off angle here, and they're all kind of grouped towards window, so it's going to be on this contact with Zeldris, and he actually finds one. Now there's two waiting for him, and this nade, oh my god, it could have been so strong. He's going to potentially satchel peek here, but the rest of the defense is already on the site. Nice shots by Aiko, picks up two. And now it's just Aiko in a 1v2. He knows there's no one behind him anymore because the rest got picked. The Roaring Thunder comes through. It's actually going to be really good to create some delay. He still has a lot of utility, but Lear on that off angle is just way too good, and you're even going to get him that orb to boot. A really strong retake again from SLM. We saw Zeldris just creating chaos on that flank. He didn't need, after that first kill, he didn't need to commit. He didn't need to keep fighting. It was just his threat, his being alive created so much pressure on the attackers there. And, you know, thanks to Aiko getting that sick 2k from bottom mid, it made it really close. And he even got his Rolling Thunder off. It made it a very winnable 1v2, but it was Lear at the end of the day in the off angle that really closed it out. And kind of a weaker buy now coming in for DNADIFF. We see Nick kind of forcing, yeah, he's gonna, there you go. Go back onto the Sheriff. He does have this from the shadows potentially to do something weird or funky. We see a heavy A presence, but they know this tether nade comes through, so all I have to do is wait for it. The prowler comes through too, but instead of rotating, Zeldris and Lear are just going to actually stay towards A, unlike they did last time. But when they show this presence, Aiko has kind of a read that B is going to be clear. It's still going to be this alarm bot setup. The Trailblazer is going to clear out the rest of the site for him. They're going to get an early plant, and this might be something for them to look at. But Zeldris, knowing that they like to play in this smoke, he's going to get the pick. That's going to give him his showstopper. Pure Finesse, nice flank timing from Garage, and it's just going to be Nick backside. It's not even planted for him. You know, maybe Paranoia into a TP play, but it's just, this is such a tough potential fight for him. And honestly, he had good timing and good position. They were not ready for him. He just kind of whiffed onto Nilly there. So it's okay. That was, you know, still not a bad play. It looks like they have identified some patterns and some weaknesses. The B site is a little bit open. You might be able to get some free plants onto the site if you see this tether nade combo come up A. If you see that they're heavy towards A and the killjoys towards C, which is something, one of the setups that SLM have been showing. It's just going to come down to what they're showing and what you can read. So here we have heavy A start. They still have to respect this tether nade, but on this instance there was no tether nade, and they did wait about a second before committing, and now they have full A-long control. Now the Skylight comes through actually, and that's going to create a lot of pressure on the defense to rotate. You can see this might create a gap for Ram, but they're going to try to force through. It's actually a really nice Astra ult. And they don't know, but the defense is actually fighting for the site. Neon has to commit here. He has to go huge, but it's actually the defense who floods through. Excellent timing on that tap, and Ram's completely out of position on this lurk to do anything. Honestly, you know, it's a good attempt. The Seekers revealed that there was only one towards the site. They kind of chased the Seekers, hoping there would only be one on site. They were not ready for the rest of the defense to be so close in A-Link that they were able to flood, which they were. And that, combined with the Cosmic Divide from the Astra, just created so much uncertainty for the attackers and so much space for the defense to just flood through behind on that tap. So really good protocols there from the defending side, and it looks like they're going to try that again. They liked how that looked. They saw that that round was weird. It was just a breach solo A. They hadn't done that before, so the 7-8 could still come towards A lobby. They still have to respect it. Let's see if they do. So actually, no tether nade showing, but the players are still here. They're going to have some sort of crossfire set up. You see the defense, the attack is still waiting for any sort of utility to show. They're very patient here, holding for a short peek, and meanwhile, Neon is going to get that long line with the operator. Attack side op, they haven't shown this yet. And Zeldris is going to have a strange first fight, potentially, but it is going to be Lear who's going to be able to swing off him. But the jump spot, it's a little bit obvious, potentially, but no. The flash comes through. Zeldris can peek at any time. Now the smoke comes through. They might not be ready. Zeldris is going to try to get in the smoke to make the most of it, but Adder's just ready. It's actually, the smoke was a little bit awkward, not going to lie. They kind of want to keep that sideline open, so they might not suspect Zeldris as much. Instead, he tries to feels the need to make something happen once that smoke comes up, gets shut down by Adder, and makes it more of a 2-2. And Ram picks up that alarm bot towards B. He's not going to lurk all the way through because of that danger, potential A-Link player, but just him breaking that bot is going to create, it's going to force them to make a play, and that's exactly what Nilly goes for. He goes for a peek towards mid to try to find the bot breaker, and now the Trailblazer comes through to try to find a kill onto Adder towards A lobby. The scan comes through as well. Lear's going to try to spam him out. They know the op is here. A site is free, but it's awkward. We have two short players trying to make something happen, and it's going to be Adder with a 3K. And now he's even ready for Pure Vanessa's flag here. Really good awareness by Adder here generally on this round, and good job kind of shutting down the defensive re-aggression towards A lobby. The flash is not going to be the best timed, and Adder even finds a fourth. It's going to be all on Nilly. There's two players already set up on the site. No real chance, and honestly a really well played round. We saw a very patient A lobby take from DNADIFF. They had the op on the long line. They used a bit of utility. They kind of induced some of those rotations to come onto the A side, and Ram found a nice timing onto B to break that alarm bot. Obviously, Nilly found good counterplay by pushing through Garage on a great timing. That's something they could potentially depend on for future. And at the end of the day, these two short players ended up having to make something happen. It was, I think, the mistake of that smoke towards A long, which kind of made Zeldris feel like he needed to make a play from that bricks position, because, you know, they already committed so much for that bricks position with that Lear jump spot and the fade ult as well. So I mean, it's those small things at the end of the day that can result in these picks, but it's kind of unusual, and I'd be surprised if we see something like that happen again. But we are going to try a similar opening here with the trip for C long. Ram's going to go for this mid lurk. Again, we're going to have 4 towards A lobby, looking for the same kind of control. Now, we actually have a fast satchel from Zeldris. He's already deep in this position. Obviously, the Nebula is going to deny them this A lobby control, and I think it's going to be Jonah who's going to be either baiting for him or stunning for him, probably off of Lear's contact for this crossfire in A lobby to work. And it's just going to come down to once the smoke fades, how they're going to deal with this. Will they spam Zeldris? Will they contact through? Will they use the Trailblazer? All of these questions and more will be answered quite soon. Meanwhile, Ram is still 1v1ing Nilly, and Nilly's utility towards mid. It's all on Zeldris here. The flash comes through. Lear gets one. And nice stun by Jonah here. Nice aftershock as well. Actually, really good paranoia from Nick to get his teammate at least out of there. Now Nilly finds that kill onto Ram towards mid, and it's just these A lobby players fighting for it. Now they probably don't need to overcommit these fights after they have the kills in the 3v3, but or the 4v2, excuse me. But they end up making it a 3v2 now. At least Pure Vanessa is all the way pushed through C-long. He puts a bait kind of star for himself to make it seem like he's playing deeper than he actually is. But the rest of the team is actually going to go towards mid. They know that Nilly likes to alarm bot this mid, and they like to play B relatively open, but in this 2v3, anything can happen. All that needs to happen here. Oh, they're going to actually try to lurk through mid on the alarm bot. Nilly's going to hear that cloudburst go through, so he actually knows that this is a danger. Nilly's just holding it. He knows they could be walking A-Link on him, and that's exactly what they're doing. He's probably even calling for this. He has a good read on it. The molly comes through. He knows that Neon could still be all the way through. His timing and his awareness and his position are all so good for this potential play that Neon tried to make, and they just get 2 free kills out of it. Like, that's so well played positionally by Nilly here. Obviously, after healing that cloudburst and kind of understanding how the attacker's going to play it. So I like that setup. A deep aggressive A lobby setup. It got a lot of value. The stun was good. I actually like the paranoia from Nick as a reaction. That was obvious, but it was strong. And we see the economy is starting to hurt a little bit on the side of DNADIFF. They're gonna have enough to full buy this round, but they're not gonna have a lot after that, especially after this attack side op shenanigans, which I like in general. But if you don't have the money for it, it's gonna be really hard to make work. So what's the plan here? Looks like I'm going to go again for this A lobby control. Again, actually same opening, but Jonah spams out Ram. He knows that Ram likes to start mid. It's going to make him have to put a suboptimal camera down just to live. And the rest are going to 5-stack A. Looks like they're looking for some sort of pop. And it's probably a good call. They haven't shown this yet. They haven't shown any sort of A pop, and it's just Nilly. So there's no information anywhere else on the map. They've been contacting everywhere. And it's going to come down to Nilly and whether or not he can make this happen. Trailblazer comes through to A. He's going to call this. That's going to induce at least a rotation from Lear, but no. He's going to walk up front sight after dodging that, and he hears them coming up. The dash comes through. Oh my god, Nilly hits a good shot onto Neon, but Lear committing that crouch spray after making it onto side gets picked up by Adder for free into a 3v3. We do have a neural theft available as well, and there it goes coming through. It's going to reveal the whole defenders, nobody flank, so that's going to allow you to set up for that. Now, this Heaven threat is still there. They still might need to smoke Heaven or spawn or something if when Nick gets the smoke back. One more trip comes through to make the scale just that much harder, but the nade might be able to do something. Nice jump spot from Zeldris. Is going to notice Adder in this position. Smokes come through as well. Oh my god, huge satchel tech. He's going to create so much pressure, and Jonah with the trades coming through late. Amazing trades, amazing scale and flood by SLM on this retake. I really love it. Obviously, the double satchel from Heaven, it's so strong on this map. It's one of the many reasons Raze is played in this meta. And, you can land anywhere. And in this instance, and we have some lag, it looks like. Or, yeah, the stream's down briefly, but yeah, we saw, you can land anywhere. You can go long, you can go in any of the smokes, you can go top short like what just happened there, or on top of the boxes opposite default, on top of default itself. And all eyes are on you when you're double satching in the Raze there. The fact that he even got a kill is impressive. Right, I can't remember if he did or not, but he definitely made everyone look at him. And the trades came through really swiftly. Jonah's crosshair was nowhere, well, not Jonah, but Nick's crosshair was nowhere near being able to trade Jonah after that flood, and it just made the retake that much easier. And looks like they're going to try again. They actually feel good about their chance to get on the site. Tether Nade comes through after a really long time of not showing it. Aiko's going to finally die to it. Showstopper comes through, but Lear's going to get there first. Picking up Neon with 3 players left alive. Lear wants more, but Ram ends up dying. Lear just does not want to have enough. Actually, Sticker's a little bit tricky. Umbat going to make that fight a little bit harder for Adder. Lear gets 3. He wants one more. Actually, gets paranoid by Nick here. Nick's just trying to get the deep off angle on him. Feels from Lear, and he gets a 4th. Nice shots from Lear, feeling himself. in this 10-1.5 so far for SLM. Honestly, a strong map too. They're doing to DNA what DNA did to them on Ascent, and if they can just keep up the pace, they should be on their way to a map 3. And now, I mean, if I were DNA, I would pause, or I would have paused potentially a bit earlier, but try to find some sort of solution, some sort of different look you can do on these defaults. I like their garage stuff they were doing earlier. I like their exploitation of B, you know, the A-long at the end. There were ideas there, but at the end of the day, SLM just had a lot of players there committed the whole time, so you kind of need something else. Now we're seeing this deep C cam, which we saw on some of these hits. Others might feel emboldened to push through the gap. And he does have the deep line too, so that's going to allow Lear to rotate back towards the B site. They know this alarm bot molly mid is just strong in general. At least trying to take contact. Flash is going to spot him. Nice stun suck from Jonah. At least just creating as much presence and pressure as he possibly can. Pure Vanessa still has a Nebula towards that long kind of playing plan. It's going to actually cause them to all rotate off, and it's probably a good call. If they can maybe push this opera off of this angle, even if they're not ending A, it would force the defense to reset, but in this instance, well, they still have time. Oh my god, nice shot by Zeldris. He only barely saw the head of Aiko there. It's going to fall back, taking the operator with him. It's going to kind of force Ram to try to make something happen on his lurk. He doesn't know where Nilly is, but it's actually Pure Vanessa who he's waiting for. The cage comes through, the molly comes through too. That should tell him that they've heard him, and it's going to be Pure Vanessa swinging on good timing with that molly. He's got to pick. The rest of them are going to make their way onto the A site. Zeldris did give up the site after getting the pick with the operator. 5v3, they have lockdown, they have everything, and Zeldris gets one more pick off the default with the paint shells. Header gets scanned. This is just and now lockdown blast comes through. This is just such a difficult post plant, but Neon's gonna try to make the most of it. Adder as well. They are just fighting to the death, and somehow they get 4. Now the lockdown detains both. Pure Vanessa might just be able to stick this, and he's going for it. This is the right play. I don't even know if they have time here to stop him, and they don't. Pure Vanessa gets the defuse. They almost threw that. I mean, DNADIFF have one win condition there, and that's just run at them and pray. And boy, did their prayers get answered for a little bit there. They found 4 to line up towards spawn from Adder. It was just not meant to be, though, as Pure Vanessa makes the right play there, defusing the bomb on that 2 detain call off the lockdown. So 11-1.5, doing 1 round better than DNA did on Ascent last game. Yeah, looks like again angling for more of a garage splits. They're very popular on pistol and on ecos just because these kind of close range angles tend to be a bit more manageable when you have frenzies, pistols, classics, shorties. So we'll see how it pans out. And unfortunately for DNADIFF, they're actually playing full retake steal. They have a retake cam, so potentially that could reveal some of the positions on this retake, and Ram gets smoked off towards window. He's gonna potentially go for some spam. He does get spammed back briefly. The stun's actually really good as well towards garage tunnel. It's gonna slow down Zeldris, and more utility is gonna be used to get onto the site, but that's actually honestly not that bad for a 5v5 retake situation. A lot of utility was used by the attackers. The defense is going to have a retake cam and a lot of utility left for the retake. They just need to clear out garage properly. Now the cam is going to get tapped any second now, and the flashes come through. Paranoia as well. The cam probably scanned some of them, I assume, and Ram's going to find the first, and they're just going to clear the whole site. Really nice cages too for this retake, and the flood looks gorgeous. The entire site gets cleaned up by full utility, full re-clear scans, and now they just have to stop the spike from getting diffused. But while it's planted really well, honestly, that spike plant works really well both for long and for the garage CT flank, which is what Lear ended up going for. The smokes from Nick just give the diffuser so much cover there to finish that objective. So honestly, kind of expected, but at the same time, didn't think it would look that good. Obviously, they were kind of ready. They had a C retake from the get-go. That was the entire point of the setup. And it just comes down to, is your utility on point? Is your scaling? Are your angle clears? Is everything on point there? And boy, was it. Everything looked really good, including those cages and that camp for the Cypher utility, and they got their value. And now it's going to be an eco round. We're going to have a fast short double satchel from Zeldris. It's going to be 2 towards short, so and Neon just swings full stun to no scope Zeldris. A flash long's going to clear long fully. Neon's going to take the angle, or retake the angle. But they don't know that Nilly could be, I mean, they know that Nilly could be short. It's going to stop Aiko from fully rotating off, and he's going to just keep jump spotting this short angle. He does see Nilly, so now the jig is up. Ico knows, or Neon knows that Nilly, they still has a player behind him. Meanwhile, we're going to have a B plant. Adder with the spam is going to deny the plant fully. Paranoia is really good as well. Now they have Spike down, and Adder gets one more spam, and it's just going to be Neon. He does find the wall bag onto Nilly with the Marshall, and Lear making that classic look like a sheriff. He's going to find one more. He just has a classic here. This fight is really hard, and Neon finds a third on the round. A really good anti-eco here for the side of DNADIFF.
Oh man, let's go. I got things to do.
And we see the same buy. Obviously, this kind of light shields Marshall allows the Neon to, or not Neon, allows the Jet to buy an operator in round 3 on the defense. We saw this on Ascent as well from the side of SLM. Just kind of small meta buys, kind of getting optimized over time. Obviously, if he can save this operator into the next round, if they end up losing this round, that would be really huge. That's kind of the idea of this early operator buy. Meanwhile, we're going to have kind of more of a mid default. Now, does the attack expect this operator to the Prowler? The Prowler actually misses him. So he's going to allow Neon to get on the line here. The stun is not bad. He's going to have to Cloudburst. Now the op has been spotted. That might induce them to go for potentially a faster B play or regrouping towards C. It's unclear for now. Now Nebula comes through to smoke, actually retake deep C, and they are angling for a C split, a 1-4 C split here. Ram pushes through C long. This is actually kind of a good play. He's going to have a favorable fight with the Spectre when they end up coming for him. Oh my god, the Paranoia, his team Paranoia almost misses him. It's going to be on Pure Vanessa to actually clear him, and he doesn't. Ram actually gets the kill. He might even get a Phantom off of it. Adder makes the flood through on that pick, making use of the Chaos, and it's just going to be Nilly on the late lurk through Garage. After the entire team got cleared up, he finds 2. That's actually kind of insane. 1v2 is really hard, though. He has an Operator and Adder kind of staring at him there. He doesn't really know where both of them are, but he's going to have to make something happen. Made a little bit. Oh, he sees the op just barely with that jiggle. It's a good jiggle. Now he knows that Adder is here too, so he kind of has to pick his poison here. Now, Neon does think, oh my god, insane shot by Nilly. Neon did think that Nilly was going back at Nilly with the 1v4. Makes it happen. Oh my gosh. Somebody stop this man.
Cool. Cool.
19-8 having a great game. Honestly, especially after that CT side round where he was deep and kind of knew Neon was going to push on him after that cloud burst. Lily's still on fire right now, and yeah, it's you love to see it. Unfortunately, not if you're DNA, and actually even for SLM after that losing so many rifles, they're actually going to be on a weaker buy. It's going to be a weak buy versus a weak buy, but DNA have to force up here because it's potentially the last round. And we see kind of more of a B walk here. Bucky comes through. He's going to probably double satchel backside with this Bucky, and we see heavy presence. Oh my god, this blast is going to deny him the plant fully, but he ends up making it out. He didn't make it out last time, and the entire defense is going to flood on this B side. Adder gets another kill spamming through the smoke like this. He knows something we don't, that's all I'm saying. And Jonah has to retrieve the spike. Doesn't bother with the Bucky. Adder's going to keep fighting. He feels it, and honestly, he has the rifle for it. He knows he has gun advantage. Turret is going to get flashed towards mid. Adder's going to keep going. Nilly gets the trade, but it's going to be Nick looking up towards B. If SLM had just kind of rotated a bit faster after feeling that pressure towards B, they would have potentially had a cleaner round, but you know, after the spike got dropped and Jonah had to go back for it and the entire team had rotated in, it was going to be too hard, and Adder took some good initiative there taking those fights, so you can tell he's angry. At any rate, looks like another potential mid default or even garage split. They like these 1-4 garage splits to do SLM on these hits, and you can see Ram perfectly content being on an island alone towards C. Now this close turret is going to stop any sort of mid walk potential, and Ram's going to hear that boom bot towards garage. This is feeling like pistol. Meanwhile, Neon's going to push through A. The alarm bot is there to potentially stop him pushing all the way through, but they don't have a lot of good options here through the defense. They have to double push through A. Some of them are rotating back, and you know, Neon ends up hitting the alarm bot. He's going to have to fall back for it too. At least just kind of holding for it. They're going to end up going for this 1-4 C split. It's going to be more of a 1-3. The smoke fades through. They know the defense should be all rotated here, and because they're not through, they should just cancel here, potentially go into B or maybe cut noise into a rehit. Looks like they're thinking of both of those things. And meanwhile, Nilly actually kind of poking through, understands that the person who broke his alarm bot ended up leaving, so he's looking for any sort of lurk, but The re-hit might come through here. Nilly's timing is going to be crucial. The sky flash actually does proc towards long, but the action's all coming. Even that sky flash procking long, you see Nilly's presence on the A site literally pulls all the rotators back. Adder knows he's here. Nice double swing. Neon off of him, but now they have to speed up. They might not be ready for this. Yes, they do end up killing the trip. Nick is gonna just flash through. Oh my gosh, he just gets one tap by Zeldred's full blind, and Ram has the line. Jonah gets the trade. Aiko trades him back into a 1v2. He might have heard Pure Vanessa. No, he didn't. Pure Vanessa knows that Aiko is towards ceiling, but a 1v3 here is gonna be a bit too much of a call, or is it? We saw a 1v4 earlier. Adder gets picked up. He hears the updraft from the Jet. He knows the Jet is there too. Oh my god, he does have smokes as well to play with. The Nebula is going to give him so much rat potential here. And he could even potentially get off of site and play the gravity well. It looks like that's actually what he's thinking of doing. He does have a good position towards Rabbit. He's almost completely off the site. And he's going to wait for Neon to make the next move. The tap comes through. Gravity well to potentially push him off. Pure Vanessa, can he make it work? He sees the rifle through the one-way and a 1v3 to close it out. We saw a 1v4 and a 1v3 this game. Huge plays are coming through from the side of SLM, and they make it a 13-4 second game. Actually really impressive. Now map 3, pressure is on DNADIFF to essentially recreate what they did on map 1. What a massive, massive win for SLM there. And we'll be back after these messages.
どんどん溢れてくる緑の大きな家まだ降りやまない雨に打たれて冷たくて冷たくて悲しいふりして助けられるのは簡単でも諦めない手を下ろさないまだまだまだまだまだまだまだまだ誰に可愛い誰に汚い空間お化粧に例えてみれば綺麗になって元に戻るというの唇が愛の入り口歯と歯があるのは何かを噛むためそう簡単にわからないことも二人で考えれば
Alright, we are back on Fracture for map 3 here. I guess SLM and DNADIFF, both teams being dominant on respective maps, even in Ascent. And this time, once again, we have SLM on defense. We saw DNA's defense on Ascent looked phenomenal. But it looked like in this map, Vito, SLM's going to get defense both on Haven and on Fracture. And if they can make something happen on this map, it's going to win them the series. I'll fly him a little bit. Deep cam here for the A-Halls with the stun potential for the breach, but it's going to be more of a dish bop. Towards dish, Ram is just going to be lurking. Perhaps late lurk through halls. That cam might spot him, it depends. He knows there's a cam there. Trap wire gets broken. They might be ready for this dish bop now. Lear has the stun charged and ready for them to jump out dish, and now Zeldris has cut back towards Amy. He's actually going to try pushing through. The stun gives him a little bit of space. Ram might expect this push now, just off of that stun, and the defense is actually resetting a bit, and so is the attack. They don't want to commit through dish after breaking that trap. And Aiko's going to zip back to assist Zeldris. Ram against Zeldris. Zeldris does get one and fall back here. No potential for a trade, but hate comes through. The stun paint shells are so strong to push Zeldris back into Aiko's loving arms, and Zeldris gets another one and runs away. Getting away with murder. Now Adder has to drop down dish, but the entire defense says here this is such a tough position. The sky smokes do give them some cover off to the side. Molly comes through. Adder with the aftershock is going to cause them, and look at all of these sky smokes. This caused Zeldris to finally perish, but Pure Vides has his own Molly Frenzy combo. Oh my god, even spams through with the frenzies for this enemy position. They know Nick was there. Clean retake from SLM for the pistol. That's, I think, the third or fourth, maybe even like the fifth pistol that SLM won have been really, really strong on their pistols, but specifically their defense pistols look very, very good indeed. I think they won all 3 defense pistols. And a lot of them on the backs of retakes. We saw Ascent B defense retake was really solid for SLM. And now Spectres come up. Oddly enough, or perhaps not so oddly, no op pressure showing. There's no like half shields into Marshall from Zeldris. He's just gonna go ahead with the Spectre. Jonah doesn't have half shields on his Spectre, so maybe saving for something in the future. But on the DNADIFF side, just a couple of sheriffs, a couple of classics, and we'll see how that ends up panning out. We do have more of a dish start again from the side of DNADIFF, with Nick just kind of holding this arcade push. Ram already all the way under. Once Nick and Ram have established this crossfire, they know that most of arcade's going to be clear, at least a steep arcade area. And Ram does have a deep B main camera as well, which he can pop at any time if they're about to flood through arcade together, which looks like they're thinking of. Now the deep cam still gets popped briefly, still staring at a sky smoke. And meanwhile, the rest of the team is all grouped up here towards arcade. They're kind of ready to go. Pure Venus has to take first. Actually, contact's actually really good. Jonah throws a flash off that contact, swings, gets a pick. Suppression is still good. They're trying to make something happen on Jonah, but he's gonna hold his ground. The molly's really good too as well. The force Ico to run through it. Jonah gets 3, has to reload the Spectre now. Pure Venus takes the angle again. One more flash. It's going to hit Adder, but just gets body shot for it. Lear rush through the sky smoke to get that trade, and it's a relatively clean round. Just 1 death here from Jonah after killing 3.
I may have jammed my fingers.
Well played by the defense. I like that. Very simple flash off the contact, but it works. We can see Lear satisfied to just run a sheriff this round on the bonus. You know, they are going to have enough for an op next round if they really want to run it. So that option will be on the table. Meanwhile, on the attack side, we have a couple of half shields from Ram and Neon. They're going to be particularly susceptible to these Spectres off of their weaker buy from last round. And another dish start, very patient, but Ram is really mixing up his position. He went A the first round, B main the next round to start, and now arcade with the camera, and nice actual stun. Zeldris knows that a couple players were hit by that stun, but no more stun left. The timing is going to have to be good, and Zeldris is good for 1, and we saw Neon dying to that Spectre there, probably off the half shields. Did not help him in that fight. The trade 1-for-1 actually is going to favor the defense here, just because of their worst guns, but Nelly is going to have to live through this rolling thunder here. Has a cage on site for himself. He's completely surrounded. Ends up getting snuffed out. And Lear trying to help him. Gets picked up by Nick, who's holding for his Sky Smokes are really good. The plan's going to be out in the open. We have 1 person on site. Couple going back B main and 1 towards Dish. This is an excellent post plant setup from DNADIFF. And it's going to be Jonah start trying first. Find a good fight here. Nice jiggles here to make it a little bit awkward. But meanwhile, Pure Vanessa ends up dying. Nice flash tech by Jonah there to kill Nick, but does get traded by Ico. Only 2 players get felled from DNADIFF's side, and all in all, actually a successful bonus for DNADIFF, making it 2-1. And now the important part: do they buy an operator? Looks like they don't. I don't know if they actually had the money, but they're gonna have full shields, full rifles, full utility on the defense side, and on the attack side, just Nick with the half shields. But generally, that's not going to be too big a deal on your smokes player. And looks like we're going to go for a similar default here. We have Ram starting towards arcade, a trip for B main, some dish pressure for the take, and a couple people A-halls as well, for good measure. Ico lining up this eye is probably going to fall through the crack in the window here. Yep. So it's going to hit Zeldris. I like this stun just as kind of a response utility. Blast comes through as well, maybe a bit too much, but you know, Adder is going to know there's a player towards 10 here. He gets a free shot. Now Lear feels the pressure here. He knows there are people in front of him and behind him. That's going to call in 1 more from the defense here, and Neon is actually going to find first towards Nelly on side. He hasn't changed the way he played, but Zeldris, after getting this A pick, is going to try his best to stay alive. Showstopper buys him some room, but it's actually Lear who picks up 2 on the A-main players. Ram does end up living. Nice jump spot from Lear, sees the Cypher on site. He's going to fall all the way back towards A-halls to give his rotators time to come through. He knows he has Spike secured. There's 1 player missing as far as he's concerned. They were not 100% sure of Adder's position. But Lear is just running it down towards the B side. He even hits the trapwire on his way. Adder ends up blast backing here. You can't be too careful. Cam clears the left. Now they know they have Spike, but now what? 2v3, you've got a couple players dish. The breach ran all the way back. He's in spawn camp, ready to go wherever. Nice timing on the Sky Spoke. Actually, the stun is also really good from Adder for them to come out. So now it's a 2v2 on site. He could suppress. He might not want to give away his position here. The suppress dust comes through. It only hits the Cypher. So as far as they're concerned, the breach is still missing, even though, I mean, they know he was a Hall, so they knew there was like a breach stun, but Molly comes through. We can see flashes come through the drop as well. Adder's just kind of taking some aggressive fights in 2v3. He does need to, and he actually finds one with it. The stun comes through now. It's Ram's turn to peek. He finds Jonah on the peak. It's now a 2v1. Really good fights here. It's just going to be Lear, the double swing to clean him up. Really well played 2v3 there from DNADIFF. It was a tough round, especially after that Sky Smoke came in. I thought for sure they were donezo, but Adder with a stun is going to push them off the angle. It's going to give them time to get on site. They weren't 100% sure where Adder was that entire round just because he never got hit by the knife. Yes, the stun hit him, but you know, did we see him come out aiming? Did we not? It's such a nebulous thing. And yeah, the flash comes through, and Adder really was just on site taking a really aggressive fight in the 2v3, which is what he needs to do to equalize the numbers. And once he had that, they just played the 2v2 really well, isolated their fights. Ram swung next, and then 2v1 swing together. Really well played. And now SLM on a much weaker buy now. But is going to proc, and he knows it's going to be fade towards a Hall, so that call is going to come through. Haunt's going to get broken, and it looks like more of a dish split here. Lear ends up committing the fight. Nice paint shells, actually pushes them away in response to that pick. And you know, defense should try to converge, but defense is actually double flanking here. They know about this trip. Jonah hits it, he breaks it, and that's going to make the attack feel a bit more emboldened to push through. The drop comes through. A lot of these smokes are actually a little bit dangerous for the attackers because defense could be riding through with shorties, but Adder just keeps his position towards Dish. Ram is watching the flank. We have all of the entire site taken. Aiko is going to swing with his A-main fights, and Pure Videsse somehow finds two with a frenzy. The satchel is good, the flash is good, and Pure Videsse gets cleaned up, but almost looks scary there for a second.
I hate waiting. Let's do this.
So we have first alt cycle coming up here. We got Showstopper, as well as the Fade Alt and Orbital Strike online here for the side of DNADIFF. So could potentially use this for a fast side take. Obviously you've got Jonah with the All Command on tap to potentially counter the Showstopper. It's going to make it harder for the race to make something happen unless they're sure of Jonah's position, which they know he's been playing towers, so this might not be a bad start, especially considering their dish start in general. Has looked relatively good. Now this is actually quite tricky for Zeldris because he could get stunned here, he could get revealed, he could get even just double swung, but obviously Nick, or not Nick, but right behind him, he's got players. The Showstopper comes through, ends up picking up Zeldris. The flash is also really good, ends up pushing Pure Videsse off the angle, so it was really just a 1v1 Showstopper versus Rifle. Showstopper wins there. The entire defense has regrouped towards A. They've been feeling these A hits really, really heavily. Obviously, Millie has a bunch of util on the B site for the retake potential, and now we've got, oh my god, just a full stance A crunch. Jonah finds a little bit of damage onto Pure Videsse, but it's onto Nick, but it's actually Pure Videsse who ends up getting picked. Now Nilly is towards stands. They end up crunching the site fully. They actually have the spike down on site. That's actually pretty huge. They tried to flip the site, DNA did, but they weren't counting on this wrap from sand all the way through halls to find these fights, and it's just going to be on Adder. 1v3 makes it a 1v2. He knows where both players are roughly. Nilly kind of checks behind him, wasn't actually ready for Adder's timing, and now the Showstopper comes through. Oh my god, Jonah even spams, giving his position away a little bit. Adder feels really confident here. Oh my god, but Jonah hits the shot. Adder did not have a lot of HP, and Jonah wins it out. That was actually a really important round to make it 3-3 there for the defense that, you know, could have had disastrous implications for their economy had they lost it. And of course the attack still has a little bit of money left to play around with, and you know, a bunch of ults. That Fade Alt's still online, that Rim Alt's still online. And of course Jonah had to use his ult there for that round as well. They end up surviving the Showstopper round. So the question is, where do they go from here? Do we continue with this Dish default? It has been working. We see this kind of raised breach on Dish. Very confident and comfortable getting the space early. So they're going to try to shut out halls instead. Early Sky Smokes. Gonna give Zeldris the angle. Pure Videsse playing with him, and of course Jonah towards heaven. has the stun at any point. They're kind of banking on the fact that these Dish players will have to make noise. Oh, they do the stun orbital strike play, but they don't end up hitting anyone with it. And it's actually going to induce two of them to take the save to try to regroup for either a full Dish pop or potentially an arcade hit. As Ram kind of lurks his way under, clears the entirety of the B side of the map, and looks like they are going to be regrouping for an arcade hit. Ram is ready on the 1-4 side of the split. And it's going to be on Jonah and Nilly on the B side of the map. This cam has been up for a while, just to check the deep arcade line. Here comes Aiko with the fade ult. It's going to end up attacking Jonah. The molly is good. It's going to delay a little bit. And Jonah's going to have to take some fights on the side. There's orbital strike as well, really limiting where Jonah can play. It's all in this first fight. Actually ends up getting a pick. He's gonna find the second onto Neon. Reload comes through on the Phantom. He gets fully scanned by the Prowler, but he already has done his job, honestly. He might even find a third. Nick gets killed by the paint shells, having to commit that fight against Jonah for the trade into a 4v2. Neural theft comes through. Both players get revealed. And Aiko's gonna get scanned one more time to make it a little bit more obvious that it's gonna be an A hit here. I can't remember if he did or not. But Pure Finesse kills Adder on the lurk. Zeldris picks up the A orb. Not sure if he's going to be ready for this
10 seconds left.
Dish pop. He does hear the drop, so now he knows it's going to be Dish. He even knows exactly where Aiko is. He does have a potential satchel for it.
Planted.
Aiko. You know, Aiko does, yeah, it does favor Aiko to take a fight here. It really does. Zeldris knows this, so he tries to buy some time, but Aiko ends up winning that fight anyway. Nice second shot onto Nilly, but Lear with a white swing gets the trade. Honestly, a little costly losing 2 in that 4v1, but, you know, they got the round, and that's better than nothing. What does this mean for DNADIFF's economy? I'm not sure. They got the spike down, so they might have a little bit more creds to play with. And the timeout's going to come through from Avino. Trying to figure out exactly how they want to tackle this. Honestly, their defaults have been good. Their regroup maybe a little bit obvious on that B split at the end, and they just kind of need to isolate Jonah. They know that the defense likes to play these hall setups. They have been winning all their fights towards Dish, so it's kind of raise, breach, default towards Dish actually has been getting a lot of value in my opinion. The question becomes, you know, do they really even need to change anything? Can't they just continue these Dish defaults? Can't they just continue popping through Dish with these Sky Smokes and winning the fights on A? Or do they exploit Jonah on B? Okay, they're playing just a solo KO on B, or maybe KO Cypher, so B is kind of the weaker site in terms of just pure manpower. But, you know, honestly, they've had a lot more success on A just from the rounds that they've won, so, you know, why change anything at this point? They could even collect a couple of orbs here out of Zeldris, maybe even one orb. But they do have some economy for this round, so it looks like they are willing to commit. Bulldog, sorry, not Bulldog, sorry, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong side. It's going to be DNADIFF with no economy for this round, yeah, so the spike plan doesn't give them that much, except for maybe a couple of light shields. They could go for another Dish pop like they tried on Pistol, maybe a 4-1 split or a 2-3, I think that would work fine. You can see the SLM haven't really adjusted their defense at all, they're kind of expecting more of the same, so they're still playing this Jonah and Nilly setup on B with this Hall setup towards A. So the question is, how does the adaptation come through? So we have more of a 1-4 like we saw on Pistol. Sky Smoke comes through as well. The cage creates a bit of ambiguity. Actually gives his cam a little bit of cover, so he can place it down. See who's playing here. Sees the raise. Actually ends up tagging her with the cam. That's not nothing, because it gives these Dish players a lot of room to kind of come up. Sky Smokes come through. Will they go for the side, or would they try to isolate the A player? Now Ram, he kind of feels the pressure. He knows they're kind of pushing him. He knows they were both here. He walks out of the Sky Smoke. Just as soon as they walk in, he finds the kill with a Bulldog. It's going to be on Zeldris to trade, but he's too close. The Bulldog ends up getting massive value. Neural Theft comes through as well. They have the whole site. And they even managed to pick Lear, who was playing towards Tower, into a 2v5. It was just a really, really strong, explosive hit through Dish. Really well timed. Ram actually also just really good timing, coming out of, like, leaving that Sky Smoke, backing up, and then kind of going back in with the Bulldog on really insane timing. Finding two, those close range fights really end up favoring him, and man, super unexpected, and they end up making it work, even though they didn't have the best guns. Stingers, I saw Stingers, Bulldog, so damn, well played. Oh my god, and Adder even hits that shot against Jonah. Yeah, like, it makes sense for them to hunt here too, because, you know, Sheriff, he doesn't, you know, what's he gonna do saving Sheriff to the next round, so just hits a really nice shot there onto Jonah, making it extremely expensive for the defense. and you can see their economy is in tatters. Nilly can't afford a rifle. Maybe I'm not sure what the play is here. But walk down B main and recycle the rifle. Like that's somewhat obvious. Maybe go arcade if he's gonna trip B main like this. It's hard to say, but on the attacker side, looks like they've grouped up arcade. They want to show a bit of a different look, but this might end up being kind of a hard read, or at least an unlucky one for DNADIFF. If they end up running into the entire team towards arcade, you see them just dueling it out, and Nilly and Furminess together find two. Nilly can't trade the third, but Lear does, making it a 2v2. They have rifles down, so honestly, for the quality of their buy, I think they got a really favorable 2v2 to end it with a rifle to boot, and now Jonah has a rifle, so potentially could take this deep canteen fight. Now Lear won't be able to help him at all, except if he has like a stun or something. This is really not the fight, that you want to take. But oh my God, Jonah! That timing was really awkward. Jonah does end up getting the trade, but Neon's just there for 2. So honestly, I think that was a really decent round considering their economy. The question is, can they stabilize now? It's 4-5. Is this going to be a 7-5 half, or is it going to be more of a 4-8? I think this round really decides it. If they win this round, they have a chance for 7-5. If they lose, it might be looking at down the barrel of a 4-8. So, Reach Alt's still up. We see Aiko's off Fade Alt 1 as well, so just needs to collect an orb. And we are grouped up more towards Dish, and we actually finally see an adjustment from the defense. They want to try to contest this Dish. They did a very similar setup. You remember when they had Showstopper, when DNA did. And this time it's going to be Zeldris with the Showstopper trying to run it back, but Aiko just swings full stun, finds the kill onto Zeldris. It's kind of insane. Sky Smoke comes through to try to at least get some space as compensation, but really nice flashes from Adder. Gets 1, now it's Lear. Gets 1, 2, 3, 4 for Lear! What is that? The flash for the trade. I like the gumption. I like that Pure Finesse tried to smoke that and tried to get some space as compensation for the pick. Ends up just dying to the flash, but Lear just flashes through and just sprays them all down. Nice recoil control, and it's just going to be Ram on the lurk. That was a huge play by Lear. Even like he's done this before. You saw the last round earlier in the half when he got the pick towards A and the spike, he ran all the way through, hit the trip towards B. Maybe we see something similar here. He gets all the picks towards Dish and just kind of leaves. He knows that people are going to be coming back. He has no reason not to give that space, let them hang themselves, let them take their time, re-clearing everything. They're not going to have that much time left anyway. We can plant the bomb, we can re-clear, retake the site with a 3v1. Ram? Kind of just waiting. Almost looked like he lagged out, or sneezed, probably, if I had to guess. Gonna clear out Dish. He doesn't have a lot of time left, honestly, and this is kind of one of the advantages. And yes, he needs a little bit of utility here to get out. This is one of the advantages of giving space the way Lear just did, but yeah, he just literally has no space. Just hangs himself with the time. I think he sneezed there or something. And Lear is even gonna zip away after this done. And honestly, really well played. Great round by Lear. He even has his ult. He doesn't have to keep committing. He doesn't need the ace. Would just end up giving Ram an ult orb for no reason. So, nice 4K from Lear. They kind of really needed that, honestly. And now their economy is slowly stabilizing. They're gonna have, even for last, they're gonna have at least half decent buy even if they lose this. And it's actually gonna be DNA with looking at a potential eco for last if they lose this round too. So this round's also relatively important, but how will they approach this? We see 4 towards Dish, another 1-4 A split showing a very, very similar opening with this Roomba. Cam comes through instantly, broken by Zeldris, no cage this time to cover it. Nilly knows they like to come through Dish here. Are they going to nade and go for this A punch? It's going to be Nilly who might take first contact. The Smite Smoke's giving him a lot of cover. It's going to be Zeldris now in a really awkward position, getting pinched, but the double flank from Jonah and Pure Finesse end up killing Ram. That's going to give Zeldris the space he needs to kite the hit through Dish. And now the Rolling Thunder comes through. We're going to try to make something happen in the 4v5. Counter Rolling Thunder comes in. Nilly actually doesn't get hit by either. And spawn space taken actually for the side of DNADIFF. This can make things very awkward because now they can be tower. You can see Lear is slightly worried about it. And yeah, they have to commit through the Sky Smokes and a main. Nyx end up getting 2 with the Sky Smokes, gets his orbital strike, he's going to shut down everything. Really nice space taking there by DNADIFF in the 4v5. They kind of knew they had to make something happen. They can't just wait for them to just exec on you in the retake. Rolling Thunder better than anything. Take spawn with it, make them uncomfortable. Sky Smokes for A main. Nick holds it down. Honestly, really well played. These teams are neck and neck right now for this map 3. And we can see Neon's one off the showstopper here. If I were them, I would keep going for this dish orb, or this dish kind of default, grab the orb. But looks like they might even go for arcade here. It might be an even easier orb for them to take for the showstopper. And yeah, I mean, they have been playing more or less just drawn out towards tower for the most part. But in this round, they're going to have nobody towards tower. It's going to be 5 towards A for the defense. So Zeldris should be able to, or not Zeldris, but Neon should be able to collect this showstopper here for free. The power comes through, you use a bunch of utilities, Sky Smokes come through, showstopper for tower. Gonna be clearing everything. Now, honestly, the fact that he had no one here means no one ends up dying to the showstopper, but, or do they? Nope, doesn't get it out in time. Camera for the retake, sees 2 on site. But they have a lot of space here, and it's actually gonna be Zeldris clearing Aiko. Is a really, really big pick. Now, Eder actually ends up trading him, which is fine. He has the vision towards box, orbital strike, forces these tower players to come down. Arcade Drona ends up hitting a trip. This is such an awkward retake here. Ram's trying to lurk through the Sky Smoke towards A main. We have 2 players now back towards tower. The tap is through. He's actually sticking, not just half, but all the way through. They're kind of gambling that he wouldn't, but it's a bad gamble, and they end up losing it, making it 6-6 on the half for SLM. Really nice objective focus there. You know, when it's that chaotic, when you don't know what's happening sometimes, you just stick the ball, and it's going to work out for you. Crazy half. Curious if we see any interesting creative setups from the DNADIFF on the defensive side here. Obviously, the main difference is going to be the fade for the KO. It's going to allow them potentially to do some nice haunt reveals through the Sky Smokes on the hits, and we see a 4B start here with the Cypher playing A. We saw something similar on Haven with them playing full retake on C on the pistol, if you remember, with that Cypher cam in the cages. It looks like they're doing something a little bit similar here. A bit more gamble stacky, which makes sense on a pistol. And Ram's gonna have to give them information if he hears any heavy A stuff. But we actually have 5 starting. Oh my god, they're just gonna be running it down B main here. I'm not sure if they can hear this. The timing's gonna be just wrong. The camera does scan that there's nobody towards dish, but Nilly has no idea just how many players are running it down on him. Can we get a camera there? Prowler comes through. Nilly's gonna have to push all the way through A main. They end up committing fully on site. Maybe pushing through these smokes for spawn is not a bad idea if you think they're all pushed through. And yes, exactly what they do. They find both picks, and Adder towards Sand and Ram towards spawn. They're gonna push all the way spawn towards the B side. Nilly's gonna hold down A for these potential Sand lurkers. He knows there's at least one. His position is so good for at least one player here. And yes, he's behind both of them now. He knows there's at least 2 towards spawn. One is missing. Aiko does get spotted towards B, and that's all 3 accounted for. Nilly with the back step gets shut down by Neon. Plant does go through. Slightly safe. Neon's gonna try to take the space as fast as possible. Tyler comes through, doesn't see anything. Neon knows there's a player stuck towards this emo side of the map. Jonah's peek is really well timed, and it's just Zeldris towards spawn wrapping. Gets the kill onto Aiko B main. We knew he was there all along. Another pistol secured for SLM. Really nice reaction in that mid round, honestly. Just pushing through spawn and sand after Nilly saw, I think they're running down B main, guys. I think they're all behind me. Let's just push through spawn, push through spawn. We got the picks. Go B, go B, go B. Like, I love those kinds of moments. Just really nice reactive gameplay from SLM. And we got 5 Spectres. They are ready to run it down. Just a shorty here for Ram trying to rat it. Love to see it. Playing more of a 3-2. Adder kind of just sitting towards spawn waiting to see what happens. He has a stun here, actually, for Neon if Neon ends up seeing anybody, but he's just gonna end up regambling towards B. But Aiko wants to leave. Adder is coming back towards B. Aiko wants to leave. Now Zeldris is gonna leave too. The boombot is towards A, so I don't know if they end up hearing it. They're just gonna contact pop through. You know, they're always gonna be good for a trade, and if you just play for the fights, it's gonna be good. But these Sky Smokes, honestly, a little bit awkward. Nade comes through, counter nade from Neon. Just gonna spam with a classic. They're all the way through. Yeah, these smokes can be a little dangerous. The only reason they're not too scared is because the DNADIFF doesn't have any flashes. There's no KO there. So there's no danger of ever getting flashed through the smoke there and getting full blinded and multi-fragged. But the Sky Haunt could still be annoying, and there could still be close players with the Shorty or Sheriff trying to make something happen. Instead, they take the entire site space and leave Zeldris alone on site. He could still make something happen. It's not like he's all alone. You see Lear is close by. He does have utility for him, and the rest are just kind of watching the flank. I believe Pure Vanessa has a lineup for this as well, so it's going to be kind of the insurance at the end of the round. And you can see the DNADIFF are just going for exits. They're not even going to go for this. They're just holding their angles, and SLM kind of detecting this. They're going to slowly back up. No reason to give them anything. That Naive is going to scan a lot of players. They're all going to try to die to Spike, which is, I think, fine for the defense, although it's going to obviously delay their ults a little bit longer. And in exchange for that, you're going to have 5 Spectres saved on the attack side. Honestly, the 5 Spectres, it might not seem like much, but on a bonus, having those 5 Spectres, being able to run it down, and then potentially having a full buy on next is actually going to be pretty nice for your economy. The question is, what do they do on this bonus? And you can see so much, all these 3s, next, that's what you like to see, like full shields, full Spectres, and a bunch of 3s, 3k, 3.1, 3.4. They're going to have insane money this half. Stop that play, and on the other side, you have Nick and Ram this time, where the half shields potentially might fall to long range Spectre fights, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, early Sky Smoke and Boombot. This looks very similar to SLM's half, except you can see Neon's actually holding onto his Boombot is a bit longer. He knows he doesn't need to fully commit it here if they haven't committed through the Sky Smoke. Suppress does come through, scanning a few. We actually have 4 towards the A side of the map, and honestly, feeling all this pressure, SLM's going to be like, okay, let's just walk back B. Let's just contact, could be maybe 1 or 2 players here, maybe the Cypher, they do have a Spectre. And if they can just close the distance on the Cypher, he's playing Heaven with a tower with half shields with these Spectres, they might be able to make something happen. Now they have to get through his entire setup here. They have cages, he's got trips. The Pain Childs are actually going to do really well to break those trips. It's just going to be Zeldris, ends up cutting the plant. He dies for it, but honestly, it's not bad. An early spike plant, obviously they don't have any tower control, and they're just going to try to lurk through late, but he might just run into the cam. Suppress comes through, scanning too early. Spike pressure is really important. We already see the fragment hitting the bomb. Now Aiko's going to land. I see the Brim Molly in the air, but I don't think it's going to land. Aiko does. It does land. They do have half. Nilly on the flank throw. Arcade's going to find 2. There's still a Molly on the spike. Adder gets 1 more. The tap comes through. Pure Vanessa's waiting for it. Gets 1 more, and Lear ends up cleaning it up. I don't know if I think Neon may have had the other player with the half shields here. Just gets full body spammed from across the map. What an absolutely massive bonus round for SLM. They even collect some Vandals. Their economy is going to be phenomenal. Wow, even like tosses a Spectre out. He's like, no thanks, I'm upgrading. 6k on Lear. This is shaping up to be a really, really, really difficult half for DNADIFF. Obviously, it'd be nice if they got a lot of damage on these eco rounds. Obviously, best case is they win these eco rounds, but they need to start winning a couple of rounds, building some economy, maybe getting some op pressure in. But honestly, that entire last half, we saw no op. So I don't know if that's going to be particular to this kind of new no chamber meta. You've got a Cypher, you don't really have a lot of agents that are particularly suited to opping, but I still think it might be really strong on these maps. You know, no op pressure really changes the way you end up having to play your attack side. So instead we're going to have a bunch of zippers. I think Adder may have heard one. He wasn't sure if he heard them or not, just because it's actually quite hard to hear. Yeah, he can barely hear it. It's so low from his position, so he really isn't sure if he heard them at all. He's not going to make a call for any sort of rotation. Meanwhile, it's going to be Ram who's poking his head. Going to see 2. The pick's going to come through. They're going to speed up, or are they? Sky Smoke's come through. Nilly's just walking very patiently up. The split clears the whole site. They have the whole site in a 5v4 post line. Haunt comes through. Oh, it doesn't end up scanning. That's a shame. It looked like it could have. Echo trying to make something happen. And again, guess what we have? We've got late fragment lineups. We've got, you know, incendiary lineups for the Brimstone. And actually, Brim might have to just be a little bit careful here, because Neon is on the flank. He could satchel over the trip at any point. He could make something happen. And, you know, he's just going to have a Molly out the whole time. And here comes the satchel through. He has to turn around. Molly comes through. Jonah kills 2 on site. In the meantime, Zeldris kills a 3rd. And meanwhile, 1v1 happening on the flag. Neon with a stinger. Picks up Jonah. Nice trade by Lear, though, with a double peek. Good job by Pure Vanessa. Just living.
Stay safe. We're going back in.
Now the timeout. Ravino towards DNADIFF. This is a little bit tough, because it looks like I'm not sure how they can key into it, but it looks like SLM is kind of finding the stack and just kind of quietly contacting, popping on the other side of the map. It's not like that complicated, but it's also really tricky to hide your whole stack sometimes, especially if they feel this aiming pressure early with the smokes. One thing you could try is you know, showing this early aim pressure with the Sky Smoke and the Boombot, but then just kind of giving it completely, stacking more towards the B site, playing more of a 3-2, maybe 1-person tower watching dish, 1-person site like passive. It's kind of like the this is kind of the weird part of the map. Now that Chamber's gone, you can't really have like a dedicated site player that would be the Chamber here, taking that deep fight and then TPing to safety. You end up, you know, having to decide whether or not you want to commit any players towards site at all. When you do, you're always risking potentially getting split through dish and halls if you don't have good protocols for it. So what because they want to avoid that, what they end up doing is just kind of overstacking halls and trying to kind of deny halls completely. But then what ends up happening is they just know you're playing there, they feel the hall stack and just go to their site, which is not what you want them to do. So it's kind of a tricky bit of information management that DNADIFF have to solve. And they do have the cipher, they do have the potential for deep lines. It's just how they end up wanting to play it. Now you can see more of a 3-2 to start, but really what they want is they want to kind of show some of this early pressure and back away, or not show any pressure at all, not show any of their utility, and just wait for SLM to make the first move. Now the Haunt comes too early. Aiko's taking a deep fight. We see this early Sky Smokes, and then this is a good example, right? They use the early Sky Smoke, use the early Haunt. They're showing a lot of B presence, and what does SLM do? They're grouping up towards A. Now they are moving more towards the shortstopper. Lear ends up just destroying Neon up in the air. Of course, I think Jonah ends up taking a lot of damage from that showstopper anyway. The stack comes through. We've got a double flank as well coming from DNADIFF, but this trip is just gonna hold everything forever, and it's gonna make it so hard for them to make this flank work. And now you have these side players, they're gonna end up getting hit by this Rolling Thunder. Aiko backs up towards spawn, but it's gonna be Ram really committed onto site. Now actually they're not through yet, so these smokes, even though they come through, they don't end up meaning anything, and they're going to rotate back towards the B side of the map. Ram's going to call there, it's completely quiet. Nilly tries to find a lurk timing, but Ram is just waiting for him, picks him up. He knows it's a lurk, he knows Nilly plays on the other side of the map than the rest of the players. So it's just going to be on Nick here, on the side player. He hears a player towards tower, he's kind of getting crunched. The molly comes through, they know there's a player on site. Now Nick, he's towards Dice, but Smalley is so good at stalling them. The rest of the team is all already here. This BMA player, there's no BMA player to shut him out completely. The pop flash is really good. They end up picking Nick and Adder off of it. No one's playing counter flash. Kind of a small blunder here from the side of DNADIFF. Now Aiko trying to take these fights, end up trading Jonah into a 3v2. They don't know where Zeldris is. Zeldris has this deep line towards Arcade. And Lear is just kind of waiting for a good timing to use the stun, probably off Zeldris' contact, and that's exactly what happens. The stun comes through, he does swing with it. They end up killing the deep player and Aiko, but they know that the Cypher is close. Ram! Can he escape from transfer this? It's Lear, picks up the classic, and Lear ends up finishing it up. 3 kills to close out that round. That was a lot sketchier than it should have been, honestly. Nick ended up staying alive so long on site. The Molly ended up just completely shutting it out. The right click flash from Jonah obviously helps them get off the site, but just not playing counter flash for that right click was such a mistake. They end up losing 2 players for nothing. But honestly, in terms of the rotations, it didn't look that bad. You could potentially argue that SLM overplayed it, kind of canceling on this A hit. They did have the showstopper. They knew that, you know, they had potentially the site player isolated on site. They just got cold feet, didn't really want to commit. Ended up just going back towards B site, but ended up making it work anyway. This time we have more of a hall split. This late knife is so annoying to deal with. This scans both players. They know there's no trips to worry about right now, and they even have a deep cam for their just side, does Nilly. And now the Prowler is going to spot him. Now they're not sure, but actually now they see the cage, they know it's Nilly. And they could bank on this. They could be like, listen, you know, he plays away from the rest of the team. We could potentially stack, but they might be playing themselves here. They might be like, that's what he's going to be thinking. That's what he thinks that we think, so actually he's going to call them back. But no, it's going to be an A-pop. It's all going to be on Ram here. And he has the cage here to buy some stars, getting spam top site. Stun comes through, and the nade, and now Nilly finds his lurk. Now Nilly calls them back. The timing is just so good. Information management is so good. The plant comes through. Nilly might have a free kill onto Aiko here. Aiko is just running through. Nilly gets the pick, of course. Vanessa does end up getting traded after he gets spammed through Spectre. Nilly gets another kill onto Adder here. It's a disaster. He runs out of ammo. But a 3v3 actually winnable. Zardus again in this arcade position. You've got a couple of B-main players. I think they both have lineups for this plant. So Zeldris can take his time here, take as many fights as he wants. He does find one. Nice Octania, he's going to reposition. The Neural Threat comes through, it's going to scan all of them. Nice swing by Jonah, double swing to fight the spike, and it's good. 12-6 for SLM. Absolutely disastrous defense side from DNADIFF. No rounds secured so far. No solutions coming up. SLM just doing such a good job of finding the right sites. Whether it's just empty sites, weaker sites, lurking onto sites and calling them back, or just plain old execs, they've been finding their rounds everywhere. And honestly, again, the solutions just, they don't look like they're here for DNADIFF, but anything can happen. We have more of a 3-2. Again, 2 on the weaker side. We've got what looks like more of a hall split. Immediate haunt. Doesn't see anybody. I'm not sure. May have been a missed lineup. Tether. And then he's going to fall back. Now, again, they're lacking a bit of information. They have the deep cam towards there, so that's going to be some respite. They know that if it's an A split, that they only have to worry about the hall side, at least until the cam scan something now. Nilly has his own cam, waiting for any straight. He has just full dish control with his camera. It's actually so good. Of course, he's playing there himself as well. Waiting for any sort of dish push. There's a cam to spot him as well, and this time it's going to be Aiko who's committed on the site. They see Nilly towards dish. Suppress comes through. Nice fade ult before the suppress procs. He's going to proc a lot of people. They might not be able to commit through this cage, but actually they're trying to make it happen. The showstopper comes through. He actually ends up missing. There's still a player on site, my friend. As an orbital strike ends up completely stalling the hit. Nick finds one with it. Adder also finds one with a blast onto Lear, and the hit falls apart except for Nilly, who finds one more. It's a 2v3, but it's a really hard 2v3. The cage comes through. Nice molly, actually. Oh my god, it's a really nice molly. He almost kills Ram with a stray. And Nilly is still fighting. He has 1 HP. He knows that, you know, he can't really do anything. Even with 1 HP, nice Brim ult there to give Nilly potential to swing, but it's just not good enough. There's a player towards A. It's going to be 1v3 for Purviness. I can see it. I can see the vision. The blast back comes through. The nades. Is this a one tap? Oh my god, it was so close. Nice jiggle by Neon to stop it from happening. The 2v3, I saw the vision. That was a heart clutcher. And a heart clutch as well for Lear. Excuse me, for Vinny. And, oh man, so we finally get our first defense round. It was a retake on the 8th site. So you know, that could always be the start of something. You'd be like, okay, maybe we're winning these retakes. Maybe we can give them sites more. They're using a lot of utility. But again, these conversations can be really tough to have. We have a completely different look here from the attack. Not completely different. They're starting towards dish, but with many towards dish. Double trips on the other side. Cam for the rest. Again, the suppress. The suppresses have been so good. They end up trying to commit through the stun. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Yang gets one before getting traded. 3 more towards the dish side of the map. But yeah, honestly, like these suppresses, these flashpoints, not flashpoints. Oh my god. Ram just ends up taking a good off-timing fight on Pure Vinesse. No more smokes for the side of SLM. He's going to try to find his lurk timing through B. And it's going to be just a jiggle timing from Nick. Yep. He's just going to be ready for it. Really well played. Nice off angle by Ram, but he gets shut down for it actually. Now the nade, they might not be ready for Adder on site here. And he's going to call them back. You can see Aiko's already making his way. Double showstopper. He sees. Oh my god, triple body shot from Adder on the flying rays. And now it's just a 1v3 for Jonah. Gets shut down by Aiko, and finally momentum being built by DNADIFF. I'm not sure how far they are from breaking SLM's economy. Probably one more round at least. You can see the economy is starting to hurt, and Pure Vinesse is going to call for that tactical timeout. It feels a little bit like they were overplaying the rounds. It felt like what they were doing earlier was working. Just kind of finding the stack, going their side, playing together, just find your alert timings. It's just going to become a question of kind of holding it down in these posts. We saw that one really good reactive post on pistol that they had as well. They should be confident in their post plan. They should be just confident in their post plan decision making here, keeping it simple, keep doing what was working, and just try and close it out. If you're SLM, and if you're DNADIFF, obviously you're still looking for those solutions, still looking for what SLM are doing, still trying to kind of finesse that information game a little bit better, make sure you have the right site stacked, maybe play more for retake if you feel like you know, you have more of a chance if you feel like they're overusing their utility to hit the sites, which sometimes they have been. And maybe you never rotate the B player, because Nilly's been lurking B really heavy. You can always have like whoever, Nick, or it doesn't matter who, just deady play tower the entire time and wait for the lurk to come through. Just hold the site for any sort of shenanigans. You can play 1-4 even if you want, and try to hold A side really badly if you really want to. Now, I saw some stuff being pinged towards B side of the map during that attack, so this might be some sort of set piece, some sort of exec. We can see Nilly is zipping back, so they're going to be all grouped on spawn side for this. I think Jonah's going to start by showing early a utility like they have been, just this early knife, early etc. Knife is good. Showstopper or Boombot comes through. Counter Boombot tries to clear the smoke. It's fine, and now they group for a B pop. And you can see we have 3 stacked towards A halls. They're kind of waiting because, you know, as far as the defense is concerned, the C attacker is just waiting behind your smoke. But no, Nick sees the smoke comes through, throws his own sky smoke to block the choke. Smokes up there. They just need to potentially kill Nick, but they actually are going for this post plant, for this Molly post plant shenanigans. Now, Now just has to be careful here. He has a shorty in the smoke here, but it's, oh my god, he ends up finding Nick with a shorty. That's so disgusting. Now he has tower control. Showstopper comes through to get some space, but it's all going to come down to these Molly post plant, no? I think KO has, I think Jonah has a lineup, I think Vanessa has a lineup, and yeah, they even find some nice fights. Zeldris still towards having to try to push these lineup Alaries deep, but they just have really good crossfires. They have really good discipline, double peeking. They just end up closing it out. I like the plan. I like the plan for that last round. Just like, listen, let's go back to this Molly Corinne shit. You know, go for these lineups post plan and just make it work, close it out. You saw they didn't prioritize clearing tower at all. Zunders just prioritized the plant, took tower later, and it ended up working out. So really, really nice play by SLM. They end up eliminating the DNADIFF from the tournament. Really great best of 3. I really enjoyed both of these teams. I love watching both of these teams play. That's why I'm casting this game. So I wish I could have cast Ascent as well, because that was also a really fun game. I ended up watching it by myself and decided I wanted to cast the other two. But yeah, I really loved watching this series. I'm excited to see either of these teams continue playing in the future. You can see the tournament. They're going to have a bit of a deep run. They're going to be playing the Silk Road next, our SLM. So I'm excited to see who ends up winning this tournament. I think, honestly, any of these teams have a good shot at winning it. So it's hard to say. It's too early. But yeah, thanks for joining me, guys, for this impromptu shoutcasting session. And I'll see you guys in the next one, hopefully.